I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have and I will remember. Now is all there is and I keep forgetting it. Now is all I have and I will there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you join us and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of men. Imagine all the people living for today. Yeah. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Hilltop.
Morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Good to see you all. Thank you for showing up. A couple things as we get going. Before I start anything, I want to give a shout out and a big hello to somebody who was a member of our community for a very long time and moved to Colorado, and she watches us still every Sunday. So Brigida, I love you. I hope you are doing well. Nice to have you with us. Many blessings to you. So I just wanted to say that there, and for everybody else that's out there in the virtual world, we're just so grateful that you're here and there. I also want to acknowledge that that our board president has a birthday today. So happy birthday, Merity. I would say that this is kind of like Hobbitville, where the birthday person gives the gift and you give such fine, I would like to say gentle, but I would say elegant firm leadership. So I'm just so grateful that you are part of our community, and I'm thrilled to have you as that. And happy birthday to you. So maybe we should do the happy birthday Merity thing. What do you think? Why not? Why not?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Merity. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, who would ever guess she was a Leo? So let's see. And other things that are coming down the line here, let's see. Any announcements that we need to know? I can't think of any off the top of my head, except that Jim Jones still continues to do his art of, no, that's not the art, that's not Jim. That's Paul. Paul's doing a class on prayer and meditation, and that's coming up in September. So put that on your little notes of fun things to see and see. New Thought in the World is on the fourth Sunday of the month, and then the first Sunday of the month we do Lord of the Rings, which I'm very excited about. And there's Jim with Well-Being in the Tao. There he came and went, but it's a powerful thing, and it's a good thing to see and do. We have the Open Mind gift shop and all kinds of fun, interesting stuff that is there. And then, of course, probably the most important thing about everything is Ministry of Prayer. So please, if your heart is touched in any way, please do not leave without prayer. There's many ways to get it. You can go up to one of the practitioners of that would be Liz and I just pointed to Laura, Liz, Andrea, Terry, and you can ask them for prayer. They'll pray with you. Laura will be doing a prayer circle about 10 minutes after service in the Emerson room. And you can also write out some prayer requests on the out there in the narthex. And the practitioners get together every Friday morning and we pray. And as we're doing that, I'm just looking at, I want to say something else if I can. I kind of have a personal policy of not to out people, as I'm outing people right and left this morning. But one of my first students, when I came here 20 years ago, who has since grown, and she is now in the School of Ministry and an active practitioner in other places, Mary Hard. I just want to acknowledge that you're here today, Mary. It's so fabulous. She brought her daughter Cassidy. Last time I saw Cassidy, she was about 2/3 the size that she is, or 1/3 the size that she is today. And so it's just lovely having you here in the community as well. Anything else I want to think about? Oh, Youth and Family Ministry, but you're here. Do you want to say anything about it?
Magdalena's back there.
Oh, Magdalena's back there today. Okay, gotcha. All right. So yeah, there's youth and ministry. If you, I don't know what I want to say. We got a place for kids, man. We got a good place for kids. We got good people. Laura is usually with them, but she's up here on the platform today. Yeah. Anything you want to say about that? That's plenty. Okay. So before I bury myself, let us get into our question of the day. So the question of the day is, where do you go to nurture your imagination? Where do you go to nurture your imagination? And I think we don't have a microphone person today because Paul is missing in action. Are you volunteering, Liz? Fabulous. Thank you, Liz. So you want a microphone to do that? Oh, we're going to start up here. Never mind. So we'll start. Where do you go to nurture your imagination? We'll start with you, Jim.
For me, it's usually books. I do a lot of nonfiction reading, but when I want to just explore different thoughts and ideas, I tend to, oddly enough, enjoy horror stories, but usually the kind that are focused on some type of social commentary. And that would be for me.
Yeah, for me, there's this, I'm sure it's common, but it's like a stillness that you let all the things in daily life percolate, and I can't really feel the creativity or the imagination come up when there's a lot of noise or a lot of fear or a lot of energy around me. It's like going inward, getting quiet, getting still, whether it's yin yoga, meditation, or just like getting calm and putting the guitar in my hands and just seeing what comes through. It's the stillness and not being afraid of the fears, not being afraid of the inner world, and just really dancing with all the inner world and welcoming all the thoughts, welcoming all the fears, all the scary stuff as well as the good stuff, and just percolating all of it and not being afraid of any of it, and just letting that come through in the stillness.
Beautiful. How about you, Laura?
For me, it's and has been for 63 years. I'm 68, but I started at 5 years old telling myself I would never miss a sunset. And to this day, I make sure, even if I'm in the dance studio, I take the kids with me, we run out, we watch the sunset. As the sun's almost gone, we make a wish, and then the light goes out. And so I spend that sunset in gratefulness every day.
Very good. Okay. I think she's got one. So, hands up, anybody that wants to take, where do you go to nurture your imagination?
Hi. When there's a lot of chaos all around me and too much noise, too much excitement, I like to go to a quiet place and just sit with my eyes closed and go into a deep meditation and ask for peace. And that's where I go.
Okay. Anyone else? Where do you go to nurture your imagination?
A couple days a week I come down here and I like to tinker in the rose garden, put mulch down, just make it look nice.
Yeah.
Even though nobody sees it, but
I see it. I see it every week. Every week. Yeah. Yeah. So other hands up. Where do you go to nurture your imagination?
Oh,
She was saying she sees the rose garden.
all right.
Anyone else today? Yes, Paul.
It's interesting. I don't need anything to stir my imagination. It seems like I live in a world of imagination. I can drive down a road and look at the trees and imagine myself in a forest. I could be working on a project and imagine myself immersed in it. It's kind of like ADHD. It's like wherever I want to be, I'm there already. So my imagination is nonstop.
There you go.
I don't sit down and just be sane at any one time. It's always wandering in a world of imagination.
There you go. Beautiful. Anyone else? Larry. After Carol.
Maybe it's a little Scorpio thing. In fact, we're related, same birthday. But yes, I have imagination for everything. I'm sitting in a room and I can be anywhere or look at a symbol and just kind of go anywhere. And I've realized there's great power in imagination because you can guide your life starting with your imagination. So I use it all the time.
Very good. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Larry was up here.
Okay, so I nurture my imagination through the novel I'm currently writing. And the characters, I don't have to tell them what to say anymore. They tell me what they want to say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Beautiful. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll say, for
Please.
me, it's three things. It's art, either painting myself or seeing other art. Music always inspires me. And nature. I look at that, what's up on the TV screens, and I think, yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All righty. If that's it, let's give everybody a big hand. And Laura will take us into an invocation and lead us into prayer.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Laura DiDonato. I'm your practitioner this morning. And if you've never been here before, welcome. Everyone is welcome. And I'd like everyone to greet each other this morning with a good morning to the person next to you. All right, let's get comfortable. Make sure your spine is straight and aligned, your 2 feet on the ground. And we're going to take a nice deep breath. Be here now. I recognize God as the power in all things, the power of love, strength, and prosperity. I know that we are all one mind, one person. This oneness that connects all of us knows that the universe, no matter what, sends synchronicity to all of us as soon as we think the thought of creativity. I live in the life of gratefulness. I live in the life knowing that I am living as a precious miracle, a unique and special and holy child. And I take care of myself as such. I love myself and all living beings. I love the synchronicity of the phone call right now. And I laugh, knowing that the joy this morning moves through all of us as we breathe. And I laugh knowing that any problems or anxiety or worry that comes up that feels like a brick, using my free will, I know that I can change that brick into a feather at any time. I don't have to drag that brick the rest of my life. I can let it go. And so now we let go of all that does not serve us anymore. And we move into the light of joy, of beauty, of the happiness we deserve. And we also celebrate the beautiful music of Lee and Jim. And also welcome the inspiring message of Reverend Dr. Guy this morning, bringing us the tools, the spiritual tools that we need to be reminded of, making life easier and at peace. And with these truths, I release into the law of mind, knowing it already is so. And together we say, and so it is. Okay, the message, the quote this morning is by Michael Poulter. The plants on the shore, the waters waiting. Take a breath, step in, and go a bit deeper. Find your rhythm in the current and keep pushing forward. Action turns into plans, into progress, and progress into growth. Mindset matters. Take the plunge and move forward. And now, I love doing the God breath. So together we're going to do 3 deep breaths, breathing in God is and releasing I am. Here we go. God is, I am. God is, I am. God is, I am. With love, and so it is.
So it is.
I'm always making my future self happy. It's gonna be great someday. Obsessed with the truth and hopeful some youth will hear what I'm wanting to say. See, I've changed relations with expectations. Now I know our music's the best. I thought it was magic, but we're sort of tragic. We just wanna know what's next. We love to know what's next. What a gift to wonder. What a life to live. What a time to ponder. What a gift to give. Now I go easy, it's easy to please me, are things I'll keep telling myself. Though I try not to worry, as most things are stories, I seem to be selling myself. I seem to be selling myself. What a gift to wonder. What a life to live. What a time to ponder. What a gift to give. At the birth of a dawn of a new way has come, and the child has something to share. As inside each of us, love keeps on teaching us, though it's scary to care. Slow down through the ages, they got us in stages, now we're getting up to speed. Still I'm at a loss if you're wearing the cross, but bearing the burden it freed. Bearing the burden it freed. What a gift to wonder. What a life to live. What a time to ponder. What a gift to give.
Thank you. Keep wondering. Thanks very much. Let's welcome our Reverend Dr. Guy Williams to the stage for these wonderful words. And thanks, Jim Jones.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Jim. I love that idea. What a gift. I mean, it really is. I mean, that's kind of how I think we nurture our imagination, is to always to move to that place of amazement, wonder, awe, surprise. All those are like some of my favorite words. And, you know, it's kind of a, if we're open to it, I think the path of life is always revealing those things to us. And it's, you know, I think if there's such a secret to life, and I'm not sure if there is a secret to life, but if there's wisdom in life, I think it's the ability to be agile, to shift, to change when things happen. Because I guess I'm speaking very personally because I've had one of those weeks. You ever had one of those weeks where you think you're going in one direction and then all of a sudden you're not going in that direction anymore because something outside of you all of a sudden has changed direction and all of a sudden there you are going with it? And how one adjusts, because it doesn't even matter if it's good for you or not good for you, or if it's working for you or not working for you. I found myself this week, I was like totally engaged and totally committed to something that wasn't even healthy for me. But man, I was willing to defend that limited experience to all of a sudden it just disappeared. And it's like, now what do I do? Where do I go with that? And so often what I will do is I hold councils in my imaginal world that I go to and pull in teachers and mystics and heroes of mine just to counsel. And sometimes I do it, and sometimes, sort of in the back recesses, they're taunting me. And that's kind of what happened this week. There's a hero of mine. He's a 12th century mystic by the name of Meister Eckhart. And Meister Eckhart was this just brilliant man. He was a Dominican monk and truly was a saint. In some parts of Europe, he's even referred to as a saint. But the Catholic Church was really pretty frightened of him because they didn't know quite what to do with how radical his vision was. He's the guy, you hear me quote this all the time, where he says, in time, our greatest obstacle to God is our belief in God. What we believe to be God is what limits us from a full encounter of the divine. He almost speaks in kind of Zen koans, It's kind of like, where do you go from that? So there's one line that he has that's kind of a personal mantra of mine that I think of often, and it was what was singing to me this week, is he says, when I seek God with something in mind, the best I get is the something I had in mind. When I seek God with something in mind, the best that I get is the something that I had in mind. And how many times has that experience happened for you as well? I guess the question often is, what is on your mind when you are in prayer? What is on your mind when you are in prayer? Because chances are the experience that you're going to have is absolutely contingent with the thing that you are thinking about, what it's supposed to be or not. I know how that is for me. Sometimes I have to pray before I pray. Sometimes I need to kind of, years ago, decades ago, if I was honest, I'm honest. I was at a Hare Krishna temple. I used to hang out to one because I used to live in Pacific Beach, and I was really close to the Hare Krishna temple, and it was always fun to go there because you could get a really good meal. And but I remember one time having a conversation. I've shared this before. Having a conversation with one of the monks, and I said, isn't this all brainwashing? And he says, well, sometimes you need to wash your brain, right? Sometimes there's a lot of detritus in there that just kind of needs to be cleared out. And I think it gets down to what I would offer is a very profound metaphysical teaching that is worth holding on to. And it is this, is that all the words we speak, all the sentences that we create, all the paragraphs we write or chart in our mind, but all words are incantations. And I love that word, incantation. The root of that word is canto, in Spanish, canticle. It means to sing into being. And so how we sing, how we speak, is what we are calling into being. And if you look at other literature or sacred writings, like the Bhagavad Gita is known as the Song of God. In the Hebrew creation myths, God speaks, logos, he calls into being. And then, of course, my favorite of all is in the Silmarillion, which are these myths and legends of the legendarium of Tolkien. He talks about how Iluvatar creates the world in which we live through song. And so how we sing things into being, but the reality is how we speak things into being. And just as a side note, for those of you who are in the Tolkien class, kind of as a thought, is, and I'll be talking about this in our next class together, is for those of you who are reading and you've met Tom Bombadil, and you are wondering, who is Tom Bombadil? I kind of think he's the Logos. He's that which was there at the very beginning of all things, but he sings things into being. And so, how we sing, how we speak, what we're calling into being is always the experiences that we're having. And usually what this is how we are defining ourselves into the world in which we live based on a story that we tell ourselves about how the world is. And how the world is, according to our belief, is influenced by, or I would say, or the sum of all the experiences that we've had, conscious or unconscious. And as I think about that, I think, the world that we're living in, if I could just kind of do a macro on this, the world that we're living in really is the sum of an idea that we have created about a God who is top-down, patriarchal, tribal, has this idea of valor associated with violence, has this idea of colonialism, or call it evangelism, or whatever you want to call it, the idea that I can impose my ideas or my beliefs on other people. And by the way, how I create is by extraction, not participation. And I think sometimes if we look at that, we can kind of see how that influences us, how almost that idea, that mythos, has colonized our mind, and that somehow or another, consciously, it's important for us to periodically brainwash ourselves. And maybe even to follow the lead of Meister Eckhart, to brainwash ourselves about the idea that we have about what we think God is or is not. And because, something that the founder of our teaching used to say, Ernest Holmes used to say, the God that we experience is the God of our perception. But our perception is the sum of our experiences and how it operates at a subjective, unconscious level, but then how we can influence it by a conscious thought. And we teach tools on that, like whether it be visualization or affirmation, or just that idea of the practice of observing the inner dialogue that we're having, because the most powerful incantation that is spoken, the most powerful incantation that each and every one of us speaks, is the one that starts with I am. So when you say that I am, you are defining yourself in relationship to a perception about what you hold about yourself and the world that I'm in. I am late. I am overweight, I am this, I am that, whatever the case may be. And we have to ask ourselves from time to time if that's appropriate for the direction that we're wanting to go, because we're defining ourselves simply by a perception that was created from an experience that we thought to be true based on the time and the maturity that we were in when we have it, and our life has changed forever and operates at that trajectory until we consciously do something about it. And the good news is we can consciously do something about it, and there's lots of ways. So the question, where do you go to nurture your imagination? I don't know about you, but sometimes I get in the weeds. Sometimes my mind is preoccupied with something. Sometimes I can get really caught up in a fear or a worry or an idea or a belief about something, and I can't see a way out of that. And sometimes we need to escape from where we are to get perception, and something that my teacher used to say, which I think is very true, is the only people that are opposed to escape are jailers. The only people that don't want us to break free of a perception that we have are those who have a vested interest in keeping us bound to that belief. And sometimes that's a story that we tell ourselves about who we are. And we just have to ask ourselves, sometimes it's good to refresh ourselves. And sometimes the way that we do it, I was asking different kinds of things, and Jim said something really good. He said, through reading, and I'm a big advocate of reading. And so there was an author. He's an interesting guy. He's an old British guy. His name is C.K. Chesterton, and he wrote this one time. He said, "People wonder why the novel is the most popular form of literature. People wonder why it is to read more than books of science or books of metaphysics. The reason is very simple. It is merely that the novel is more true than they are." The novel is more true than they are. Or as Pablo Picasso said, art is a lie that tells the truth. It's not physically true, but it is deeply real because it engenders something within us and carries something with us. And I would gently disagree with Chesterton on this one point, is that I think that, he was writing in the 20s and the 30s, but I think that, as we see the dawn of some of the work that's being done in science, some of the work that's being done in neuroscience in all kinds of different directions, I think whatever brings us to that place of amazement and wonder and awe, that place that exercises our mind to expand beyond the confines that we have placed on it, or we have allowed someone else to colonize our idea about how things are. Something that can break us from that is a very healthy thing to do. And so legends, myths, whatever it is, however, whether it's even looking, it doesn't even have to be a book, I suppose. It could be looking into the starry world or into nature or a dog or whatever the case it is. It's something that breaks the chains of the bondage that we have placed ourselves in based on nothing more than a perception that was laid on us or we took on, and maybe we even took it on because it seemed like a good idea to protect ourselves from that until it doesn't work anymore. And so the life, I think, of a spiritual seeker is a life that is open to shift and change and whatever the case may be, and to not simply bind ourselves from one thing or another. Something that Mark Twain said is, he said, "It is easier to fool someone than to convince them that they're being fooled." It is easier to fool someone than to convince them they're being fooled. And this is something that kind of, I've had my nose rubbed in, and because, you think that you can use reason, you think that you can use charts and Venn diagrams and all these kinds of things to convince somebody, hey, do you realize that you are in chains? It goes all the way back to Plato's idea about the cave, right? But we can't do that. It's easier to fool someone. It's easier to beguile someone. It's easier to influence someone through fear than it is to invite them to cultivate a new imagination about where they are. It's easier to fool someone than to convince them they're fooled. Because I don't know about you, but in my most foolish moments, I think I'm right. And the more I think I'm right, the more I'm unwilling to look at the fact that I might be wrong. Until, of course, things come crashing in on us, and then we realize that we're anchoring ourselves into something that is not working for us at all. So, this idea of amazement and wonder, it's a different way of cultivating the imagination, and the imagination is the tool by which we strengthen ourselves that allows us to enter into the imaginal. And the imaginal world is very different than the imagination. The imagination is what we do, how we do it. The imaginal place is where we enter in. This is, as anybody who is an artist of one form or another understands, this is where the creative process is. And the thing that makes us really cool about being individuals is that we have this ability to tap into this creative process, because one of the things that I experience, that I believe, that I commit myself to this particular teaching because it's so central, is that each and every part of creation matters. And that means the person sitting in your seat. That each person has dignity and meaning. In the Hindu tradition, it's known as dharma. It's that thing that is unique and special about us that contributes to the greater whole of what there are. You know, part of the cult of individualism that we are so attached to in our particular culture is this idea, you know, we make heroes in our culture, and it's not necessarily bad, but we make heroes of the rugged individual, you know, the one who breaks out, the one who makes it does this. But we do that at the expense of realizing that we are part of something greater than ourselves. Yes, we are unique. Yes, our life has meaning. Yes, we have something incredible to contribute. But at the end of the day, it is because we are called to and invited to participate. If you read the Hebrew Bible, or you read the Christian Bible, or you read the Bhagavad Gita, or whatever the you know, whatever spiritual literature there is, what in all of them have in common, from the mystical writers who were inspired to write the things that they wrote, is that the world that we live is bigger than our mind. The world that we live is bigger than our problems. The world that we live is bigger than our perception of how things are, and that we are always invited to expand that. We are always invited to do something greater with the potential that is ours to have. Something that Plato talks about. Plato talks about the education of the soul is remembering. What if there wasn't anything more for you to have to learn? Not one more bloody lesson, one more this, one more, but maybe at the end of the day, the education of the soul has more to do with remembering who we truly are. In the Greek, this is known as ascethesis. A guy that I really enjoy reading these days, a man by the name of Mark Gilbert, who is he's like he's not the last person I would read, but he wouldn't have been the first, but I enjoy him immensely. He's a former Army intelligence officer. He's an attorney. He's also a brother Freemason, and so he's got an insight. But something that he wrote is this: is he says. He says, there is something rather than nothing. This is the cosmos. A human may only glimpse a fragment of this cosmos. This is ascethesis. Some are aware that ascethesis exists, and others are not. This is gnosis. And what he's talking about is this, is that we encounter the divine through the senses, through what we're feeling, hearing, experiencing, touching, connecting to. It's not a mental activity. Abraham Heschel talks about this. He says there's two ways of knowing. There's reason, and reason is simply arranging and putting together what we already know. And then there's wonder and amazement and awe, which is this experience of how the senses are bringing novelty, creating a mental agility for us to kind of grow, and where we need to move and what that looks like. And an example of this that I'm reading right now to kind of nourish my soul is a book that I picked up of his the other day, and it's called The Song of God. And basically what it is the story of it's the story of the Bhagavad Gita as told from the perspective of an army soldier during the Iraqi war. And so he says, you know, God entered into a battle on February 2nd or 3rd or whatever, 1991, in an Abrams tank, you know? And it's because Krishna, who is the great charioteer of the Bhagavad Gita, is driving a tank. And the soldier is questioning what he's doing. And what he is doing is in this book is he's taking a very ancient story, the Bhagavad Gita, and he's saying, in a sense, you know, yes, here's a legend, here's a myth, not historical, and yet as relevant to each and every one of us. And so in that, he has this line in here. He says, this is the character who plays Krishna, the tank driver, speaking to the guy who's the tank commander, who's having a nervous breakdown. He says this, he says, you are a warrior, And this is your path to fulfillment. You who is always looking for more inner knowledge, more awareness, chose this path to see the face of battle. You wanted to experience all facets of your true being. You wanted to know the limits of your potential. Now here you are, and you want to avoid this knowledge. This is far worse cowardice than to fear your enemy or death. At least that is a primal fear you were born with. But this has no excuse. It's beneath you. Shake it off. Stand up. But I think what's interesting about that, and I guess how that hit me, is this, is it is so easy to say, I want to experience it all, until we're experiencing it all. And then we're like, well, wait a minute, I didn't mean that. But that's exactly what it is, right? Because we think, as Hartman Rosa says, we're wanting to control the world, we're wanting to control all these things, but the bottom line is a world that is controlled is a dead world. So we want to be alive, we want to experience it all. And then when experience comes to us, it's like, well, wait a minute, I didn't mean I wanted to experience that. Except we do. And at some level, even maybe at the level of our own soul, we call it into being, and then we call it into being fully unequipped because we're still locked in an archaic idea of how things are supposed to be, and maybe even an archaic idea of God, what God is supposed to be, and how God is supposed to be doing all this thing. Oh, by the way, that's what a crisis of faith is. That's what a dark night of the soul is. A dark night of the soul is not when someone stands you up on a date or you lose a job. A dark night of the soul is when your idea of God no longer works in the situation that you're in. And it's not so much that you have to invent a new God, but you have to be willing to let go of an idea that no longer serves. A self-inquiry into how really do I see things? A new way of imagining things that allows us to enter into a new imaginal world about where this is supposed to be. Yes, I want to experience all that God is in this life, and I want to experience all that this life has to offer me. And something agrees with me. But at the end of the day, part of what experiencing all that life has to offer is the understanding of what this life is. Transient, unfinished, complicated, messy, difficult. It's all of those things. So then, how do we get food for the journey? How do we equip ourselves? I think one of the first things is what I love, why I commit myself to this idea called the Hilltop Spiritual Center, is we understand that we don't have to do it alone. That other people can, we are creating a place that it is safe to be loved. A place that is safe to give and receive love, where we can see, serve, and celebrate each and every one of us. But, what we say every week is, whoever you are, wherever you are welcome here. Doesn't mean you get to stay there. Well, you can if you want to. But if you want to grow, maybe there's something else to do. And so I am going to offer an assignment for all of us today. And it's not even my assignment. It comes from Johannes Goethe. And he says this. And again, this is one of those things he wrote like in the 1700s. So I'm not going to try to gender it one way or the other. Like I said, there's practitioners available if you get triggered by words. And yes, I know I speak a lot. I quote a lot of old dead men. Only because that's the wisdom tradition I came from. And it's not the only one that there is, but it's kind of the primal one that I have. And so I just invite you to listen to what he says, not how he says it. A man should hear a little music, read a little poetry, and see a fine picture every day of his life, in order that the worldly cares may not obliterate the sense of the beautiful which God has implanted into the human soul. In other words, this week, listen to a little music. Look at a piece of art. Take a walk on the beach. Pet your dog. Do something that does not obliterate the sense of the beautiful which God has implanted in each and every soul that we have. You know, Michael Singer says that the mind is where the soul goes. Michael Singer says that the mind is where the soul goes to hide from the heart. And so the invitation then is to go to the heart. Go to the ascethesis, the sensually experience, and see the beauty there, and realize that that beauty has always been there. And perhaps we've seen it, and perhaps we've not. And if we have not seen the beauty, it's because we have been distracted by a story that blinds us to all the good that this living presence desires to offer to each and every one of us. Thank you.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone on the dark clouds that have me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Yes, I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is a rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue sky. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. Gone on the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Let me hear you. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Let's keep it going. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. One more time. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. So beautiful, everybody.
Where did he go? He left again. Mike Popovich. He's out there. Anyway, apparently he and Anne are newly grandparents again, or continue to be grandparents, and so he has a candle burning here and a flower here in honor of his newest grandson. So do congratulate them. He's busy in the kitchen getting ready for our feast. All right, there you go. Where's your mic? You can use mine. Or you can use the one you have.
Okay, it's that time of giving. How many have seen or read the book or seen the movie Pay It Forward? Yeah? Just about everybody. Very nice. That was a gift to the earth. to us people. 2 nights ago, I teach dance all day at a dance company, a dance studio I have for the last 50 years. But at night, to pay for all the costuming and performances, I drive Uber. So a couple nights ago, something was left in my car, so they didn't claim it, so I put it in the glove compartment. So the next day, a mother and her son, he was about 7 years old. I usually talk to the kids to make them feel comfortable rather than silent driving mode, you know. So I ask them, you know, what's their favorite sport, how old they are. And he said he was 7. He said that baseball is his favorite sport. And I said, have you started playing yet? And he says, no, I don't have a glove. Guess what was in my glove compartment? A shiny black glove, kid's glove, by the way, kid's size. I pull it out and I hand it to him, and the mother goes, are you sure? I said, yes, it was left for him. So I thought that was a beautiful metaphor for giving. So now we're going to pay it forward to our spiritual home. And actually, Earth is our spiritual home, but you know, as we give to our community here at the Hilltop, it spreads throughout the world. Not only are you making this a better place and a better home, and more opportunity for more classes and more events and just more of everything, that's because of what we give, our time, our talents, our treasure. So let's close our eyes and know that here today, right now, we are special. We are special children of the universe. And we are children of this community, learning and growing and loving each other. And knowing that as we give, we also receive, joining that circle of abundance and opening the doors to receiving. And now as we give, with peace of mind and love, knowing that all is well. And together we say, and so it is.
People coming through, coming through, coming through. People like you and you and you. You didn't have to, but you do, but you do. You keep on coming through, coming through, coming through. People coming through, coming through, coming through. You and you and you. You didn't have to, but you do, but you do. You keep on coming through, coming through, coming through. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Thank you.
So thank you. So Mike is around here, so do give him a hug and Ann a hug and celebrate their newest grandchild. So what's the stats on your grandchild?
Well, it's actually our great-grand.
Whoa, Ann's that old?
Ann and I are blessed with 4, I can't call them children, they're offspring, 4 adult offspring, 10 grandchildren, and this is number 5. I'll have 5 great-grandchildren.
Wow. You are a patriarch. Congratulations. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you. Well, please give Ann and celebrate them. So I want to thank everybody else that's been part of service today. Mike, you did a great job. Thank you. And Steve sitting there overseeing it and doing a very good job. And do give a kiss and a hug to all those people that are in the kitchen because they are putting up feast. Someone said the other day at one of our community meetings, it's like, you know, we have to advertise that service starts at 10:30 and ends at noon because part of service is lunch. So please join us in the feed and the feast and how that goes. And Jim, you guys were fabulous as always. As always. You got any gigs coming up?
Yeah, this next Saturday is going to be a fun one in Encinitas. It's a house concert with 2 of my friends who are amazing artists. So that's on my Instagram, or just talk to me. It's going to be a really fun private house show at in Encinitas.
Good, good. With that, let us pray. Let us celebrate. So let Mike and Jim and Lee hit the buffet first. Because by the time they're shaking hands and kissing babies and packing up, all the food is gone. So we'll let them go first. They can do the other stuff later. So grab some coffee, visit. If this is your first time, I'd love to get a chance to say hello to you after service. Please introduce yourself. And so with that, I've been thinking about Reinhold Niebuhr's prayer. It's a long prayer, but most of us just know the first verse or two, where he says, "God grant me the wisdom to change the things that are mine to change and not change the things that are not mine to do," or something like that. You know the words. Basically, it's that, the wisdom to know the difference. And you'd think with me the insight to actually memorize the prayer. But in either case, let us just recognize that there is a presence that guides us and lures us and invites us and bestows upon us a wisdom that allows us to navigate through this really interesting world that we live in. And may today surprise us in some way, amaze us in a way that we recognize that there is a power and a presence for good that is loving us unrelentingly, inviting us and luring us into a greater experience of who we are. And we bless today in that consciousness, giving thanks, letting it be, and so it is.
Here's something I wrote when I was 20 years old, and keeps on playing itself to be true everywhere I play it. It's about escaping to reset. Driving in a car or in a cinema, you're probably gonna hear a song today. You'll sing it like a star to the soul bar, and nothing can go wrong today. 'Cause there's a remedy in every melody to all the trouble we have to face. It's like a best friend from the high end to the bass. So let the music play it alive and up another day. Don't wanna hear what the world's gotta say. Just let the music play my siren. Worries away, 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 away. Everywhere you go, you take your stereo. You never know when you'll need it there, 'cause it reminds you of the times you didn't really need to care. But now we're living in this rhythm, and this prison's hard to break. You got the music, so you can use it to escape. Just let the music play it alive and up another day. Don't wanna hear what the world's gotta say. Just let the music play my siren. Worries away, well, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life moving to the beat. Come on, nothing to the world can hold me down or keep me in my seat. Come on, nothing to the world can hold me down or keep me in my seat. Said I'm gonna spend the rest of my life moving to the beat. Come on, nothing in the world can hold me down or keep me in my seat. Said I'm gonna spend the rest of my life moving to the beat. Come on, nothing in the world can hold me down or keep me in my seat. I like my rock and roll and my new soul, a sweet symphony for me. A little country jazz or something funky as anything just sets me free. I listen to those clever musos, 'cause no one ever knows like they do. And when I'm home alone, I try to make a song, 'cause I wanna know it too. I let the music play the life and up another day. Don't wanna hear what the world's gotta say. Just let the music play my siren. Worries away, away, away. Just let the music play. I let the music play. Just let the music play my sorry worries away, 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 away. We fade away, 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 away. Fade away, 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 away. Fade away, 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 Thank you very much. Happy Sunday, everyone. Let's eat.